Hi everyone, and welcome to the Soul Illumination Reading for the sign of Taurus. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So hi everyone and welcome. In today's reading, we're going to be looking at what your soul would most like to illuminate for you at this time. So we're going to be pulling some cards here to get an initial layout. So we're going to be looking first at what you're bringing to the table, Taurus. You might have a Capricorn in your life. And then we're going to be looking at an area of focus that your soul would like to draw attention to at this time. We'll dive a little deeper into that area of focus. We'll look at a block or a challenge, advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that, and then we'll look at a level of spiritual abundance or growth that wants to come in for you. All right, so Taurus, your cards kind of came flying right out here. So we have Judgment, which is the energy you're sitting with. This is your internal energy in the moment. And we have the Hanged Man, which is what your soul is drawing your attention towards. Which is interesting because Judgment speaks to a fundamental change of ourself. This can be internal, where we suddenly have a self-realization that changes our perspective entirely, meaning that we can no longer go, it's kind of like saying something that cannot be unsaid or seeing something that cannot be unseen. There's a level of that change that comes through. It can also be where something has changed us, where we have gone through, let's say, becoming a parent for the first time, and now we cannot go back to not having ever been a parent. There's that fundamental change in the self. Now, it's interesting because as I'm saying that, a lot of times when Judgment comes in, there is a change in perspective. There is that kind of, I like to look at it as a opening and expansion of our awareness in some regards. And that's why we can't go back to the version we were just a couple minutes ago sometimes. It can be that quick of a change in our life. It can also happen through circumstances that we kind of get thrown into. Now, with the Hanged Man energy is a change in perspective. This can be where there is a pause, a purposeful pause in our life that either we choose to take to allow Spirit to come in and guide us, or this is where there can be a forced pause that is orchestrated, I like to look at, as part of the divine design that is allowing us to allow that light of Spirit or that our direct connection to God, or however you choose to see it, to come in and allow us to see something that we have long needed to see, or that is going to be part of this fundamental change in ourselves. And it might lead to a change in a direction. It might lead to a change in circumstance. And it can be frustrating. The Hanged Man energy can be where we feel like we are stuck. Maybe we're trying to make something happen and it's not happening. Or we are taking that time to, again, meditate, possibly allow universal knowledge to kind of work through us. But either way, there can be this change in perspective, and we're kind of waiting for that level of integration, because the Judgment and the Hanged Man, it could speak to an abrupt change in our life. And with the King of Swords as your main underlying energy, there's a sense of truth coming in, a sense of King of Swords can be Aquarian energy, so this could actually be an Aquarius coming into your life who's allowing you who's kind of providing guidance. It could also be a part of yourself, where the King of Swords is someone who really sits firmly in their truth. They have a highly analytical mind. They can make very fair and balanced judgments. And for some of you, this could actually be, I don't see the Justice card here, but sometimes the King of Swords can represent someone in the legal profession or a teacher. So this could be a mentor, or someone who could be a lawyer or a judge in that regard. Now, with the World and the Wheel of Fortune underneath, there is a closing of a cycle that is happening for you, Taurus, with the Wheel of Fortune and the World. And it says that before the cycle has closed, the wheel has turned over. So something happened in your experience recently, and I wouldn't say recently, the wheel could have been starting to turn years ago, but there was a forward momentum, a change in your circumstance. And with the world coming in, it says that there is now an ending of whatever that time was, of whatever that Wheel of Fortune turning brought in for you. It heralded in, at this point, a close of a major cycle. And the King of Swords is someone, this could be for some of you, where maybe there is an element of you have the ability to maybe speak or to sit in a place to mentor or teach others based on your experience. That could be even, the change here. It could also be that there might have been a judgment, a literal legal case or judgment that came in that kind of heralded the close of this cycle and a change perhaps in yourself or your perspective of something. Very interesting here. This is very kind of heavy hitting energy with the world, the Wheel of Fortune, Judgment, the Hanged Man. There's a sense here of almost like divine events happening, orchestrated events happening to push you into a change, a fundamental change of who you are, and to ultimately change your own perspective for, I feel, the better. Now we're going to pull some additional cards here, but we're going to dive a little deeper into the challenge. We're going to look at the advice from Spirit, and then we're going to look at what level of abundance wants to come in for you here around this change in perspective and this fundamental change you've gone through. So let's see here. What does Taurus need to know about connecting Judgment with the Hanged Man? Let's see here. What does Taurus need to know? Cards are, for the fact that the other cards came flying out, I'm surprised that these ones are a little quiet here. Let's see. Pull back my sleeve a little bit. There we go. What does Taurus need to know about Judgment, the Hanged Man? Okay, so we have as your main point of challenge the Eight of Cups. Yeah, there's a sense of a realization of what you need to walk away from, of something that is no longer emotionally supportive. And it could have been something that you had long poured yourself into. When we think of cups, cups are our emotions. And it can be where we put a lot of emotional investment into something, a lot of time and energy. And there's a realization sometimes, especially when Judgment comes in. I often see when Judgment arrives in a reading, it's often brought in along with the Eight of Cups, because when we have that fundamental change within ourselves, there's the realization of a lot of times kind of looking at our whole life perspective and saying, wow, with the knowledge I now know about myself, or the new knowledge that has come in, I realize I have to cut this out of my life, whether this is a relationship we have long poured ourselves into, whether this is a career path we've long poured ourselves into, whether it could be a hobby that has taken up a good portion of your life experience. But there is something here where there's that realization of I've changed, and now I see that there's something it's time to walk away from. And with that comes a lot of anxiety. Because the Nine of Swords coming in right after that speaks to that worry, that going to bed at night and thinking it over and over and over again. Like, what if I leave and I never get to, this could be, for instance, as an example, realizing it's time to leave a partnership. And maybe because you realized you've changed, and maybe the other person has not grown on the same path as you have. And there's that realization of, oh my gosh, but if I leave this person, what if I never meet someone who's even half as great as this person was? Or what if I have to split up all of our belongings? I don't have enough. There can be that sense coming in. This could be the worry of walking away from a career path that maybe you've long been invested in, and you think, well, gosh, am I going to waste my education? Am I going to waste the 20 years I've spent getting to the point that I am? It's kind of that energy coming in here. Now, with the Six of Wands coming in right at the heart of your reading, this is the advice from Spirit. It's recognition. it's actually outside recognition of the work that you've done. It's a sense of success, a sense of being seen for, again, what you've taken courage to take action towards. But I think for some of you, this change in perspective might be now directly tied to what the Six of Wands is. There might be a sense here, because with Spirit highlighting this as your advice, there could be a change in what you view as success. And I know I've gone through this personally at a different, in a past point in my life. And now I do have Taurus. I'm a sun sign Taurus, and I do have a Mars placement in Taurus. So I do work with a lot of Taurus energy in my chart. And I can tell you that at one point in my life, I very much looked at success from the lens of how much money could I make, of how far could I go in a career path, of seeking out everything that was more tied to work related. And then I had a very much change in perspective at a certain point where I realized that to me, that's not what success represented. To me, instead, what success represented was my ability to enjoy the time that I had, was my ability in my life experience to be able to have passion projects, to be able to be creative. And I started to realize as well, at a different point in my life, that success to me was being able to have a family, to have a child. And all of these, over the years, as my perspective shifted, it was due to me going through these kind of fundamental changes, which is what judgment would herald in. Going through something externally that then brought in an internal shift, or going through an internal shift that then changed my external reality. So we're always kind of going through these little phases like that. But sometimes we can go through one giant, phase with the world and the Wheel of Fortune. Now, you did also get the Wheel of Fortune as your secondary underlying energy. So there's a sense now for some of you that the wheel, it's almost like being grateful for what the last cycle has brought for you. Now, obviously, when the wheel turns over at any given point, we can be at the top of the wheel and we can be at the bottom of the wheel. So that means that at some points in our life, we will be sitting high and pretty and successful in, I would say, more of the standard or traditional version of successful. And then sometimes we'll feel like we're at the bottom of the wheel where things just haven't gone our way, or there's a little bit of a loss, and then it turns over again. So there's a sense here of really taking a look at what this wheel has brought in for you, sitting in that truth and understanding that based from that truth, what is it that you truly know it's time to walk away from, because your idea of success has changed based on the new person that you are at this point. Now, after that, we have the Lovers, we have the High Priestess, who's underscored by the Nine of Wands. The Lovers, beautiful energy to come in after this, right? This could be you're realizing that it's time to prioritize a relationship for some of you. Very much so. This could be where maybe it's time to, maybe you had to walk away from one relationship and it's time to prioritize that search for a more fitting romantic partnership. It could also be where for some of you, there might be that change in perspective similar to what I had, where you realize, I want more of what I love in my life. That's success to me. That is more, it's not about money or the career path I've poured myself into or the hobby that I let, be half of my life to this point. It's saying, I want to bring more love. I want to bring more of what I love. I want to include that in my life experience, and that is success. But it could also be that for some of you, you're realizing it's time to find that partnership. The Eight of Cups could even be sometimes it's asking us to walk away from something distant in the past. This could be where we had a breakup years ago and we've kind of just been carrying it around in our heart. And now it's time to realize it's time to open yourself up to a new relationship, because your idea of success has now shifted to realize that maybe that's what you need more of in your life. It could be even sometimes Eight of Cups can be just walking away also from a negative mindset. Maybe you poured a lot of emotional investment into seeing yourself in a certain way. Maybe you've seen yourself as a person who always has to struggle, will never have enough money in the bank. And it's a realization of, I need to let that go. I'm realizing that I can overcome that. Maybe you had a windfall of great fortune that came in the last cycle, and you're realizing it's time for me to walk away from that negative mental patterning or that negative mental view of the fact that I will never amount to this or I'll never have this in my life. Because with the High Priestess and the Nine of Wands, there's a sense for many of you that there's a deep intuitive knowing of the decision you need to make and the way you would like to move forward. But the High Priestess, just as much as the Hanged Man, can speak to a lack of taking action. Because although she has made a decision based on her intuition, based on that direct connection to Source Spirit, she is sitting with it. There's a secrecy almost to it. And for some of you, there might be a sense with the Nine of Wands of really seeing where you have felt like you are a little burned out. And there may be this choice now of, it's almost like this intuitive choice of understanding, I can't keep doing this because I'm exhausted. And I really want to go towards what I love. And you're sitting with that. There's that energy of sitting with that. The other part of the Nine of Wands is realizing how far it's taken for you to get to a certain point. There's the sense of really being able to celebrate all of those battles you have fought and won or come through with additional knowledge that didn't knock you down. There's that sense of that Leo lion-hearted courage coming through this card. And I think for many of you, there's kind of like a double meaning coming in here. One is the understanding of all of those battles fought and how far you've come and how truly courageous there is a soul within you. But there's also a sense of understanding just how exhausting that was. There's a sense of, I get the feeling intuitively of wanting to put that burden down, of not wanting to keep staying in this place of burnout. And that could be the shift in perspective. It could be that maybe you were so focused on money and career for so long and that it was exhausting. And now you realize, I want to shift into a new, with a new cycle starting here. I want that new cycle to be focused on bringing more of what I love into my life and focusing maybe on relationships or focusing more on pursuing passion projects versus just the traditional career path. That could be an example of this. And in your heart of hearts, you've made that decision, but there's a sense of kind of like waiting. And for some of you, you might be waiting for the right time, either to share this with someone or to make a move. But there is love that's waiting to come in for you. But if you have the ability to really admit to yourself what this change in perspective is, based on what you now find or you now see as success for you. So what is it that you'd like to achieve? What is it that you'd like to be recognized for? And really allow that inner part of you, that intuition, to highlight that for you. Okay, I'm going to pull some clarifiers now. So we're going to take a look at the Eight of Cups to see what is it that you are feeling it's time to walk away from. Two of Cups. You may be looking at friendships. There could be a sense of really looking at support. The Two of Cups is their intimate partnerships, intimate relationships. It doesn't just have to be romantic. This can be platonic. These can be close friends. This can be even family connection. But I do feel with the Five of Wands and the Two of Cups, there's been a little bit of maybe some either competitiveness, which the Five of Wands can speak to sometimes, that there's maybe too many people kind of getting in the mix. It could be that there could be almost here like some chaos around you being able to authentically connect to others or feel that others have support, that you feel like you can not only support others, but that you have the support from equally from people in your life. And so there may be a relationship, this could be highlighting one relationship that brings a level of chaos or drama possibly into your life. There could be a sense too of maybe too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people trying to get a word in, or again, a certain level of competitiveness. And I think for some of you, there's a sense of maybe realizing what that is in your life, maybe realizing that, I mean, this could even be where there's a little bit of, how can I put it? And I'm sorry to kind of have to sit here and think about it, but it's almost like I can see it in my mind's eye, but I'm having a difficulty expressing it. There's a sense here of almost like normally I would say this with the Five of Swords, because the Five of Swords is where we are, kind of trying to win at all costs. We're the person that wants to argue a point until we win. We don't care if at the end of that conversation, the other people walk away from us or don't want to be friends with us anymore. But the Five of Wands, I'm kind of getting the same feeling, but a sense of competitiveness, like a sense of, if somebody says, hey, I did a great job, and you're like, well, I did a better job, kind of like that. There's a sense of kind of like one-upping someone in a situation, or trying to, again, when you're trying to get close to people, allowing maybe outside influences to come in and affect that direct connection to another, so that you don't actually have that true authentic connection because there's too much noise around it. So that could be as well. Now with the Nine of Swords, we have the King of Wands and we have the Ace of Cups. Now, for many of you, this could be, so the King of Wands is Leo, a Leo energy. You may be, there could be a Leo in your life. But I'm looking at this more for some of you, especially with the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is that chance at new love. It is also the chance of a renewal of the soul. I often look at the Ace of Cups when it comes up in a reading as a beautiful opportunity to almost be born again. There's that sense of true renewal. And that's why it's the seed of new love, because you are reconnecting to that love within yourself that comes directly from source energy. The King of Wands can be someone who is a business owner. It could be someone who is a fiery, passionate CEO type of individual. And there may be a sense of, there could be an opportunity of connecting with someone who is like that. There could be, again, a Leo or a very fiery person. It could even be a Sagittarius or a Leo coming in here, and there's a worry about that. There's a lot of intense worry, and it could be because it's time for you to walk away from maybe a certain way of being in relationships, or a certain relationship that has led to a lot of chaos in your life. And now you have the chance to reconnect with someone who either is a business owner or who is kind of that fiery individual who leads from what they're passionate about. And it's almost like there's a part of me that feels like either you're reconnecting with this individual in a new way. This could be like a vow renewal, or a change in how you interact with this individual in your life. It could also be, though, for some of you, where you realize in order to connect with this individual, you have to let go of a past relationship. There's definitely a relationship feeling coming in, and again, it doesn't have to just be romantic. This could literally be for some of you who really want to just change the way and how you connect with others in general. And it could also be that for some of you, you actually want to connect as the King of Wands, that you want to be seen as the individual who leads from what they're passionate about, and maybe even is a business owner. There could be a sense of kind of reconnecting to the self through standing out in this way. But you do have a lot of Leo cards. I'm just going to say that we have the King of Wands, we have the Six of Wands, which is at the heart of your reading, and the Nine of Wands. So there is a lot of Leo energy here. So again, it could be that you might have strong Leo placement. You could have a progressed emphasis of Leo in your chart, for those of you who have looked at having a progressed birth chart reading. But there's also the sense with Leo of really taking a look at how you want to shine, how you want to be seen in the world. There can be a sense too of, again, success, but I do get that feeling of more than anything, of really looking at how you want to be seen. And that might be changing. Again, maybe at one point you wanted to be seen as the business owner, the fiery CEO. And now you're like, you know what? I realized just how much chaos that brought into my life, and I couldn't connect intimately with or authentically with others because all I was doing was being focused on work. And now you're realizing, wait a second, I would rather, maybe focus more on bringing an individual into my life, or focus more on bringing my passion, what I love into my life experience. And that might mean that I have to change how I am seen or how I feel I am successful and recognized. But for some of you, there is a direct, definitely a connection here with the Leo, or again, a fiery individual who kind of fits that fiery, dynamic individual persona. Now with the Six of Wands, we have the Three of Pentacles, and then we have the King of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Nine of Swords. Three of Pentacles is looking at what you want to build and who you want to build it with. And this is definitely in the physical because we're looking at pentacles. Now this could be, I sometimes look at it as, the foundation to building a home with family. This could be the foundation for building a business with others, or just having that vision for the future that is shared by those who want to come in and lend their gifts, lend their physical gifts, time, energy, money towards something. Now we have a King of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Nine of Swords. The King of Cups can represent a Scorpio in your life or a scorpionic energy. For some of you, you're legitimately worried about what it's going to look like if you commit to an individual. So the Hierophant can speak to commitment. It can speak to our higher belief systems. It can speak to things like marriage, because that is part of a system that we feel we have to lean into, meaning that it's an institution that we get married before, in a court of law, basically. Now, we obviously can look at getting married in the eyes of God, but there is, especially in American society, there is definitely, or Western society, there's definitely that sense of it's something that the government has to know about. And so we choose to follow that law and those regulations. And that's what the Hierophant really speaks to. But here's that Nine of Swords again. There's that worry, and there's that sense of, if I commit to this, if I marry this person, I think for many of you, you're realizing that's what you want success around, is the commitment to this individual who might be a Scorpio or really speak to that beautiful kind of unconditionally loving or deeply spiritually connected individual. Sometimes I can see the King of Cups as either the spiritual advisor. I can also see the King of Cups as the unconditionally loving father, where the Queen of Cups is the unconditionally loving mother. So there is that sense of maybe committing to that in your life, an individual who speaks to that energy, or committing to someone and you are fulfilling that role. But there's a sense here around the success of what you want to build and who you're committing to build that with. Now, it could also be for some of you where if you are looking for obviously, this is a general reading, so it could be very difficult because there's a lot of different messages coming through here. This could be about committing to a path that is either bringing you into the energy of the spiritual advisor. Maybe you're looking to become a tarot reader, or you're looking to become a Reiki healer, or you're looking to be a yoga master, something along those lines. And there's that sense of worry. If I commit to this, will it work out? Will I be able to build this? Will I be able to have the recognition for what I'm working towards? So keep that in mind. I know I see that. I think with the Three of Pentacles coming in, I get the feeling for some of you, there's a sense of realizing that you have to bring others into it. That we can't just work independently. We can't just have a goal that we alone achieve. There's a sense of bringing others into this picture, whether this is, again, committing to a new relationship and you're realizing, It's better to have two people working towards that common goal of having a family than one, or whether this is something larger, building a business or wanting to, this could even be where you're looking to build a business and you want to find a demographic to sell your services to, and realizing I need to start networking. I need to start bringing other people in to help me with this. Now, here comes the Six of Wands with the Lovers. Yeah, I think for many of you, there's a realization of a change in viewing success as the individuals you directly connect with. There's a sense of a success stemming from a new relationship or stemming from a close connection with another individual, because we have the Six of Wands and we have the Ace of Coins, the Ace of Pentacles. So this is the new opportunity here. There's a new opportunity through a love connection. Be this an individual or be this committing to what you love. And there is a new opportunity there, and a new opportunity that is going to be in direct alignment with your vision for success as it stands now. Not the vision for the success years ago. Vision of success as you are today, as the fundamentally changed individual. And let's see what this High Priestess and the Nine of Wands is all about. But if there's a question about a relationship, there's definitely a lot of potential here. Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. That is a fresh, not only tangible start, but also a fresh start in love. It means it's the seeds to grow into the next cycle. Okay. Oh, I love it. And then we have the Eight of Swords, we have the Devil, we have the Three of Cups, and we have the Star. So for some of you, and then there's a Hanged Man again at the bottom of the deck. So your underlying energies here, Wheel of Fortune, Hanged Man, definitely coming in. There's that sense of the wheel spinning again, a focus on what came in for you in the past cycle that has fundamentally changed you. And now you have the chance of starting a new cycle. You have a chance of starting a new cycle that might mean a commitment to another individual and what you'll grow together. It could be that you're committing to a new cycle that is going to be focused on obtaining that relationship that's going to be a part of who you are now, that's going to help with this growth around a change. Meaning that maybe you have been single for a long time and now there's this realization of, wow, I really do want to commit to being that loving father in a relationship. It could be, obviously, if you're female or identify as female, take this as it comes, but it could be also that you want to just commit to a life that is more spiritually inclined as well, where you get a chance to grow the spiritual side to your experience. But I do feel that it does involve other people. Again, who you love and what you love. Now, the Eight of Swords speaks to feeling stuck, as does the Devil. The Devil is what holds us back. It is something that we had at one point loved, but which has now become that ball and chain, if you can think about it like that. And it can be bad habits. It can be, at one point, the Devil doesn't always have to be things like a negative addiction, meaning, you drink too much or you're lazy, because yes, I am definitely guilty of that. Letting time kind of slip through your fingers. And there's a sense of, we don't look at something like, let's say, working out too much as a negative. We're like, but we're healthy and I feel great. And there's a realization of maybe you've been spending too much time working out to the point where you've exhausted yourself. That would be the Nine of Wands, that burnout. It could be even where you feel like you are overworking yourself, but you're like, but I have to work these long hours. I'm saving all this money. I'm going to go on this career path and I'm going to get all this recognition. And then you realize, actually, that's at the heart of what's holding me back, because the Eight of Swords speaks to not being able to see a way forward. You feel held back from being able to take action on the decision you need to make. And I think for some of you, there's a realization here that maybe with the Three of Cups and the Star coming in, that you've held yourself back from intimate connection or from finding a soul tribe, because the Three of Cups can be like-minded people coming together with open hearts and celebration of each other. It's kind of like finding your soul tribe. And there could be this sense of realizing that you kind of you can't do it all alone, because otherwise you end up burned out, especially if you're reaching for the star. And the star is that grand kind of wish, dream, hope that resides in our heart that we would love to see realized in our life experience. It's kind of our guiding star, because everybody's vision of the star, which I kind of look at as almost like our ideal heaven on earth, is going to be different. And for some of you, this can reside in two different ways. It could be that you're being literally held back by the company you keep, which could be the Eight of Swords, the Devil, and the Three of Cups. And that's what's kind of not allowing you to go towards your star. It could be that you, in turn, are actually holding yourself back from connecting with others in this beautiful, intimate way, which is part of your star. Finding that soul tribe, finding the support from those who, again, really have your back and you have theirs. It could also be, too, because sometimes the Three of Cups can speak to third-party situations. It can speak to overindulgence of alcohol as well. So there could be something along those lines too, that there's a realization that is actually what's holding you back from really moving forward and kind of getting out of the space of burnout. But I do get the feeling more than anything that it's either A, you're being held back by the company you keep and it's time now to shift that because you yourself have changed, or it's time to open yourself up just in general to finding a new soul tribe as part of the attainment of your star. Finding those who will support you, finding those who can celebrate with you and you them. And that's what's going to allow you to realize that you don't have to be the Nine of Wands. You don't have to be the weary, wounded warrior always going through life alone. You get the chance to share that with others. And life is so much better when we have those around us to share our experiences with. I kind of look at our life sometimes as a, we can compare it to the tree falling in the woods. There's no one there to hear it. Did it actually happen? Is there actually a sound? And I sometimes look at our lives like that. If we live our whole life without direct connection to others, especially this intimate connection and love, or based and founded in the energy of love, does what we produce or does our life experience actually exist outside of who we connect it with? So just keep that in mind. I don't know why that came through so strongly to share it like that, but think on it, because that's what the Hanged Man speaks to. Think on it, Taurus. So let's see here. But it really is going to, with the Hanged Man and the Wheel of Fortune, I think for many of you, this is just a review of really looking at the cycle that's coming to a close, what was brought in for you, and how can you capitalize on focusing on bringing more love into your life in this next cycle? Because that's what's really going to unlock your ability to move towards the star and unlock this fresh start that's waiting for you. Now we have, and I love it, we have Surrender Your Fear of Intimacy. It says you are ready to let love in. Compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. Yeah, absolutely. It's time to open yourself up to others, be it just close friend groups or people who will become your close friend group, or whether it's opening your heart to a close romantic partnership. And it says, surrender to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. So yeah, when we think of our soul's path, sometimes we feel like maybe we got off of it a little bit, or we wonder if we're truly living out our potential. And I think for many of you, this is a great reminder that when it says embrace every lesson and every moment, I get the feeling that this is kind of tied back to that looking at the Wheel of Fortune from a different perspective. Sometimes we can look at, especially when the Nine of Wands comes in, that weary, wounded warrior, we can feel like, oh my God, that last cycle was crazy. That was so difficult. I feel like all I was doing was battling something. And then you realize, but it heralded in the most amazing level of awareness for myself. I've never felt as confident in my abilities as I do today. I realized that actually, even though I had to go through a divorce, I was also able to be gifted with the gift of finding a new relationship that's much better for me. Even though I had to walk away from a career path, I'm finding that the next career path I'm walking down is so much more suited to what I love and allowing me to feel like I'm not sitting here spinning my wheels and burning out all the time. It can be something along those lines where there's this realization of a change in perspective of the actual fortune that was brought in the last cycle for you, and how can you capitalize on that in the next cycle. And how can you really surrender your fear of intimacy, opening yourself up to that next romantic partnership, opening yourself up to bringing more of what you love into your life. Beautiful, beautiful energy. I'm going to pull one final card, and I'll read the excerpt from the oracle book that comes with this, and then we'll wrap up your reading. There's one. Oh, wow, that came right out. Spiritual decree. Well, there's that spiritual component there. These cards usually don't jump out like that, so that was definitely a pointed message here. So it says spiritual decree number 41. It says, you have been wondering what will happen next in your life, not realizing how much power you have to decide that for yourself. What do you wish to have happen next? Are you willing to use your divine birthrights of free will, voice, and empowerment to set the cosmic wheels in motion? There's that Wheel of Fortune. If your answer is yes, then it is time to speak your truth to the universe. Decree it, and you shall be it. And that is exactly the King of Swords here. That is the individual who speaks truth. You have been praying for help, asking for a map, and wanting directions. You are wise in the ways of the receptive, responsive approach to life. It is... Sorry, guys. Sometimes I yawn when I channel. It says, it is spiritually mature to trust the greater guiding power of the divine to direct your course. And yet the wishes in your heart are part of how that happens. Divine destiny is not something that just happens to you, but it is something that you co-create as a living spiritual being with free will and divine love beating in your heart. You are being honored for your ability to ask for guidance and wait for signs. You are also being asked to set intention and develop faith in yourself, to trust in what your heart yearns for, what you love so much that you are willing to go through the discomfort of growth to see it come to life. It is time for you to have the experience of seeing your intention blossom into manifestation. This does not mean that you have to make things happen. You are not responsible for how your manifestation occurs. The universe unfolds according to its own genius, of course, but you are responsible for the words, beliefs, and intentions you express that are the seeds of your personal creations. The universe then responds in its own wise and powerful way. When this oracle card comes to you, it is time to speak your truth. What does your heart truly yearn for? Focus on it and say it aloud. Don't be afraid to speak your dreams, desires, wishes, and fantasies. Sometimes it is only in daring to speak them aloud that we really understand what we want. This can be a terrifying, liberating, exciting, and life-changing moment. It is the moment that we grow into a spiritual adult, becoming willing to take responsibility for our own life journey. Will you speak your heart's truth now? Feel your words moving the energy from deep within, transforming your truth into sound and releasing it as intent into the universe. Don't worry about finding the perfect words. Just speak freely from your heart. Give yourself permission to express your deepest desires and then let go and trust. Now, I like here when it says it is the moment that we grow into a spiritual adult, becoming willing to take responsibility for our own life journey. That is the Nine of Swords with the Hierophant and the King of Cups. There's a sense of committing to your own spiritual self, to that higher self, and building from that place. Be that the desire to have a fulfilling relationship. Be that you get to do what you love. But either way, it's going to, yes, involve a little bit of spiritual discomfort, but you are committing to the growth of that spiritual self and bringing in, I think, the support that will support the true you. But the spiritual decree it and you shall be it. This is Spirit saying the ball's in your court, Taurus. What would you like? What is your idea of success? And are you ready to just let it in? All right, I'll leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the month. If you'd like to book your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in your next illumination reading. Bye, Taurus.